Hi, I'm Jimmy Kimmel. This is my favorite YouTube channel. I have a YouTube channel, but I don't look at that. This is the one I spend most of my day looking at. I'm embarrassed to say it because Dave might watch this, but I'm an obsessive David Letterman fan. I had a license plate on my car that said Late Night when I was in high school. My birthday cake said Late Night with David Letterman, the cake on it. I started smoking cigars because of David Letterman, no joke. I watched every one of these shows. I didn't have a VCR. I was up at 12:30 watching these shows, late for high school, every morning. Was known in school as the kid who watched David Letterman. Not exactly most likely to succeed, but somehow I never thought I would host a talk show. My dream was to one day become Dave's friend, and that is probably never gonna happen. But I do have a show, and I've had the fortune of meeting Dave many times. And to me, these videos, most everything you remember from your childhood does not stand up. It just isn't as good as you remembered it. It's either slow or it's just not that funny. I can't get enough of these videos. I can't believe how funny they are. And it brings me back to that moment when I was sitting at my desk in my bedroom. I had a 12-inch black and white TV set that I'd stolen from downstairs, and we got a color set. And that was it. I was there and locked into the show. When the theme song kicked in, it was so exciting. And when the show was over, I couldn't wait till the next day. So some of my favorite moments from Late Night with David Letterman. I have to start with a segment, a remote segment. Nobody's ever been better at doing these, not just late night, just ever, than Dave was. There's a segment called, well, I called it Just Bulbs. And Dave went into a store that sold bulbs, and just so happened that he asked the woman, a very patient woman, if they had other things, and he asked her if she had shades, and she said, no, if you want shades, you have to go to a store called Just Shades. And of course, they cut right to a store only in New York called Just Shades. It's great.
The name of the store is Just Bulbs, and that's exactly what we sell, just bulbs.
Okay, so besides bulbs, what do you have here?
Nothing.
How about shades? Could you get shades here?
No, we are just bulbs. If you want shades, maybe go to a place called Just Shades.
We sell nothing but light. Discount prices.
What is the name of the store?
Just Shades.
And what can you get in here?
What can you get in here? All the shades. That's why our name is Just Shades.
But seriously, what can you get besides shades here?
I owe a great debt to David Letterman, to Late Night with David Letterman, to the writers and producers and everyone that worked on the show. But you can really see it in this clip because Larry Bud Melman, who was the first person ever to appear on Late Night with David Letterman, this man who had no skills really or talent, I guess, and yet he was hilarious. I don't think he knew that he was funny, or at least he didn't know why he was funny, but he was funny. And Dave sent him to Port Authority, the bus station, to welcome tourists to New York. If you've ever been to New York and been to Port Authority, you know that it's not a great place. But Larry Bud was there with a hot towel and a microphone that he didn't know how to use at all. And this is one of those situations where my Uncle Frank kind of filled the Larry Bud Melman role for me on my show. But it's a situation where you think you know what's going to be funny about the idea, and then it takes a left turn, and then it's something entirely different. So here, just watching Larry Bud Melman work a microphone is television magic.
Welcome to New York, sometimes called Fun City. How is your... And where are you?
From the Eastern Shore of Virginia.
Oh, do you have any questions about New York? Well, it isn't easy, that's for sure. Did you have a snack on the way? Well, won't you please...
One of the shows I watched a lot when I was a kid was MASH. And Alan Alda was a great actor, and I never really thought of Alan Alda as somebody you'd think was funny, and other than thinking he was funny. Then Dave went into a Chinese restaurant, and I don't know what their intent was, but the result was an investigation of sorts into Alan Alda and his proclivities when it came to eating Chinese food.
In the last several years, much has been said and written about Alan Alda, the TV star and the film star, the motion picture director, writer, humanitarian, champion of minority causes. But surprisingly enough, we know very little about Alan Alda, a guy who likes Chinese food. And that's why we're here at the Hunan Park restaurant. This is David Chang, one of the owners. David, nice to see you.
Nice meeting you too.
And this is David Bang. Paul, I'm sorry, Paul. How are you? Nice to see you. Tell us about this photograph of Alan Alda here in the apron. I guess he actually worked at the restaurant for a while, huh?
No, he never worked in a restaurant. Actually, it's back to the 8 years ago, when we first restaurant opened up in the 98th Street in Broadway. He's become to the regular customer. They later become to my personally friend.
Good friend of yours. Now, when he would come to the restaurant, Paul, would he actually wear his own apron like that?
That's actually it's part of the Four Seasons movie he shot. So we doing this in the kitchen. I teach him how to cooking and preparing Chinese food.
So you guys, in a way, were indirectly responsible for the success of that movie.
This movie is not in the domestic when show in the theater. That's go to the internationally. He's a promotion this movie.
I see. Now here we see Alan Alda, and I guess that's Paul. Now, what kind of food does he enjoy?
He like string beans, and he like cold noodle with a sesame sauce, fried dumpling. Most food we have, he like it very much.
Does he have soup?
Oh, he have soup all the time.
What kind of soup?
House special soup, hot and sour soup.
And what about chopsticks? Does he use chopsticks?
Oh, he uses chopstick very well.
Does when he eats here, does you clear the dishes away? Is there a lot of crumbs of food and stuff left over?
No, not very.
Yeah. Now, what kind of a tip would the guy leave you?
Very good tip.
Very good tip. The Hunan Balcony Restaurant, another Chinese restaurant in a different part of town, and yet, once again in the window, we see more photos of Alan Alda. Here on the left, the complete montage of Alan Alda cooking, and over here, another photograph of Alan Alda with the owners. So we decided to come in and talk to the manager, James, about Alan Alda, a man who truly seems now to love Chinese food. How do you do, James? Nice to see you. At the other Chinese restaurant, we found out a few of Alan Alda's likes and dislikes. What can you tell us? What insight as to his ordering can you offer us?
Well, when he come in, he bring his wife. He come in and order 2-3 dishes for her meal. Mm-hmm. And
does he ever order too much and have to take some home?
No, he never. He ordered a hot special soup, or sometimes he change the dish, And
so variety. He does enjoy a variety.
And fried dumpling of corn noodle with sesame sauce. Especially he like the string bean and broccoli with garlic sauce.
Let me ask you something. At the other restaurant, we heard that he did use chopsticks.
He uses chopstick, yeah.
And he doesn't really leave much of a mess. Is that true here?
Yeah, it's true. It's true. He never leave a mess or some kind of dirty stuff on his table like that.
That's. Has he never been any trouble? Ever get rowdy, out of hand?
No, he's very gentle. He's a very nice guy.
And rice, steam or fried?
Steamed rice.
And about a tip, we found out at the other restaurant, pretty good tipper?
Yes, pretty good tipper here too.
Okay. Do you have any other photos of Alan Alda we can just kind of...
This is our boss here, this thing, and that is from Mr. Fang in the...
That's Alan in the middle?
Yeah.
Okay, and what about other pictures?
Other picture here is, you can see the Mr. Fang, Alan Alda, and he's making the commercial on his Four Seasons on another restaurant, Hunan Park.
But you could almost put together a whole series of Alan Alda Chinese restaurant trading cards.
Yeah, he cooking Chinese food.
Great. Well, thank you very much, James. I appreciate your time and trouble. Well, there you have it. Another view of Alan Alda. Truly a man who loves Chinese food, and I don't know about you, but I feel like I know him a little better now.
I love when Dave would go out into the field, as we call it, which is really just leaving the office, but Dave went to this inventors convention, and the inventions were mostly ridiculous, but there was one invention. I know it wasn't fake, but it's just so ridiculous. It couldn't possibly be real. This guy invented some kind of a device that would prevent you from being buried alive. And naturally, Dave asked, has this been a problem? And the guy, through an interpreter, explained that he'd been buried alive 3 times. And so this is why he felt it was necessary.
It seems like, at least at the Inventors Convention, that the better inventions are coming from Mexico City, and this is Roberto Monsivais and Pedro Cruz, whom we know is going to interpret for us. What is the invention we're interested in, according to the pamphlet, Life Detector, to avoid being embalmed or buried alive. The premise is now, if a loved one appears to be dead, is loaded into the coffin, locked into the box, and is still alive, this alarm system will let the loved ones know that Uncle Herb is not gone yet.
He doesn't have to do anything. There are systems connected to his body that will automatically make it known that he's still alive.
Could you ask Roberto, does this happen a lot?
Yes, he told me to tell you that he was buried alive 3 times, and he got a little worried about it. So now he developed this idea, and it has proved to be of great interest to a lot of people.
Who died 3 times. People thought he died. And then they put him in the coffin, and at the funeral, he woke up, or...
It was mere chance in all of these times. One of these times was he was going to be robbed, and somebody saw that he was still alive, and that was how he came.
After which time did he get the idea for an alarm to prevent this?
¿Cuál vez fue cuando se te ocurrió la idea esta?
De la segunda vez en que perdí el sentido, también por un accidente, en este caso fue que me tiró un caballo, perdí el sentido, los movimientos, pero no la conciencia, porque me daba cuenta de lo que estaba pasando.
After the second time, when he was thrown off by a horse.
After the third time that you were buried alive, it must have got to be annoying, huh?
Not just annoying. It's the most terrible feeling that you might experience.
You might start carrying a card with you that just says, I'd kind of like another opinion. One final question. I can understand being buried alive once. Sure, everybody's going to make a mistake. Or even twice, somebody's looking the other way, they close the lid. But 3 times, how has it happened to him 3 times?
So see, this is something that he can't explain. It just happened that way.
Para eso es mi aparato, para que una persona supuestamente muerta se le dé una oportunidad para que se recupere.
Just a run of bad luck, then.
Just a run of bad luck.
Well, congratulations on the invention, and better luck to you. Thank you.
Well,
Thank you again, Pedro.
Thank you.
One of the clips I've watched the most of David Letterman, this is something that my band leader Cleto and I quote all the time, is there was a woman on the show who had some monkeys that wore dresses, and that's a great start. And one of the monkeys was menacing Dave. And this is one of the few times that you see Dave show real fear. I think when Crispin Glover was on was one, and this is another. The monkey was lunging at Dave, and Dave said something to the effect of, "I think he's gonna reach into my neck and pull a vein out."
How are you?
Yes? Sandy, why don't you go get your chair down there? Now, offer your hand to Sandy. Offer your hand to the lady like a gentleman.
She's gonna leap at me and pull a vein out of my neck and kill me.
No, all right, forget it. Stand up here. Well, stand here.
Maybe you'll get
Max
some, maybe you
just a
won't.
little.
Oh, Jesus!
Well, stand here. That's right. Pour a little bit in Sandy's glass quietly. Pour it.
Oh!